This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Welcome into the News at 6. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins.
First tonight, an antibody therapy created from one of the first people in the U.S. to recover from COVID-19 is being tested on people who have the virus right here in Indiana.
Yeah, the hope is this helps create a better treatment for those who contract COVID-19 in the future. Eli Lilly has selected research sites across the country, including here in Indianapolis. Our Nicole Griffin reports now they need COVID-positive patients to participate in this study.
Franciscan Health is one of just 24 hospitals across the country that was chosen by Eli Lilly to take part in this new clinical trial. They hope this important research will eventually lead to treatment that will help curb the spread of COVID-19.
I lost my sense of taste and smell, and then my worst symptom was the body aches.
In March, ER nurse Emily Kornpropst tested positive for COVID-19. Her symptoms lasted for 21 days.
Pain lingered. Even longer than that.
She's now recovered and caring for COVID-19 patients at Franciscan Health.
My grandfather actually came down with the virus and was transported from Newcastle to Franciscan. Unfortunately, he did end up passing away. He was 94 years old and his body just couldn't take the virus.
Based on her personal experience, Kornpropst says it's exciting to know the hospital she works at was chosen to take part in this new trial called the Blaze 1 study. Dr. Ahmad Shawa is the principal investigator for the hospital.
We will be infusing this monoclonal antibody that's directed against a protein at the surface of the virus, and hoping that this will basically neutralize the virus and prevent it from entering our cells and replicating.
Some patients will receive the trial drug and others will receive placebo or water. The staff and patient will not know which one until the end. Dr. Shawa says it's an honor to be a part of finding a treatment for COVID-19.
It's great to be able to save lives, to decrease the number of people who are affected by this. It's an honor that I cannot tell you how happy I am.
Working for you, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
And to be eligible for the Blaze 1 study, you must be 18 years old or older, have mild symptoms, and not be hospitalized. We have details right now on the RTV6 app and at our website, theindychannel.com.
The Indianapolis Public Schools Administration is recommending that the school year begin entirely remotely, according to a note sent to parents today. The district plans to present the recommendation to the IPS Board of School Commissioners tomorrow, where it will be voted on. If approved, the school year will still begin on August 17th, but it will be entirely online. In-person learning will be delayed until at least October.
Avon Community Schools was the first school district to close because of COVID-19 back in March. Now, it's one of the first districts to reopen. RTV6's Stephanie Wade is speaking with parents who have mixed emotions about students returning to the classroom as the pandemic continues to be a major issue in Indiana.
Today is the first day for in-person classes for Avon students. Like other school districts across the state, they gave families two options: return to in-person classes or fully virtual online learning.
You don't know what's right, and you don't know who to listen to.
Mixed emotions from parents in Avon today as they said goodbye to their kids and headed back to school. In March, Avon Community Schools was the first district in Indiana to close after a student tested positive for the coronavirus at Hickory Elementary. The district tells me about 85% of families chose in-person learning for their students and 15% chose virtual. They declined all interview requests today, but Superintendent Scott Wyndham tweeting this morning, 5 months of preparation for welcoming students today. Students are masked up and ready to go. Jamie and Cody Herget even had their kids practice wearing face masks all day yesterday, just to get used to it.
They wanted to go back, so we told them, if you want to go back, you have to follow the rules or they're going to send you home. And they both love school so much that they were fine with it.
Students have assigned seats on buses, in classrooms, and in the cafeteria. According to Governor Holcomb's executive order, masks are required for all school staff and teachers, as well as for students in 3rd grade and up. Anyone who tests positive will be quarantined for 14 days before returning to school. and the county health department will do contact tracing. Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Families have until August 7th to change their minds and switch from in-person to fully virtual or vice versa. After that, elementary and intermediate students must stay with their choice until the end of the first grading period on September 25th. Middle and high school students have to stay with their choice for the semester. We have the back-to-school plans for districts all across central Indiana up right now at our website, theindychannel.com.
The number of new coronavirus cases and deaths in Indiana has declined. That's according to the latest data. And today, the State Department of Health reports 630 new cases of COVID-19. That is 179 fewer new cases than yesterday. 64,299 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with coronavirus since the pandemic began in March. The state confirms 8 new deaths, which is also lower than yesterday. So far, 2,733 people in Indiana have died from COVID-19. More than 724,000 Hoosiers have been tested for COVID-19. 8.9% of them tested positive for the virus. And RTV6 is teaming up with the Indiana Black Expo for the virtual Hiring Hoosiers Employment Opportunity Fair this Thursday, which is tomorrow from noon until 4 p.m. Our virtual interview space will let you connect directly with recruiters and HR executives from the comfort of your home. To get connected, visit IndianaBlackExpo.com.
New developments now. The Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department has officially updated its use of force policies, focusing on de-escalation and limiting the use of lethal devices. IMPD began working on the new policy back when protests against police brutality were happening almost daily in downtown Indianapolis. Those protests, in part, stemmed from the police shooting death of Dre John Reed on the Northwest Side back in May. Here are some of the key aspects of IMPD's new use of force policy. The new rules create a clear standard for the use of deadly force. Chokeholds are now banned. The rules define an officer's duty to intervene and report when inappropriate force is used. Officers aren't allowed to shoot into or from moving vehicles. This new policy also more clearly defines techniques of de-escalation that officers must use before use of force can be considered.
It's long overdue. It, I think, is more appropriate and addresses some of the community's concerns about the appropriate use of force for our law enforcement professionals. And I'm glad to see that it's been formally adopted.
I think it is timely. I am glad to know that voices from our community that have been concerned and been raised have been heeded, and that we're making progress towards responding to those things.
IMPD is redeveloping its training curriculum in line with the new policies and will begin the process of training all officers on these new directives as soon as next month.
Indiana's 48th Governor Joe Kernan has died following a lengthy battle with Alzheimer's disease. Kernan died around 5:30 this morning. He was first sworn in as Indiana's governor in 2003 after Governor Frank O'Bannon died unexpectedly of a stroke. Kernan made history as soon as he took office when he appointed Kathy Davis as the state's first woman to serve as lieutenant governor. Kernan's career began as a United States Navy lieutenant. He and his co-pilot were shot down while on a reconnaissance mission over North Vietnam in 1972. He spent 11 months as a POW, and including at the infamous Hanoi Hilton prison. A graduate of the University of Notre Dame, Kernan was elected mayor of South Bend in 1987, beginning the first of 3 consecutive terms as mayor of that city. Kernan served as the governor of Indiana for 2 years, retiring from politics in 2005.
When General Douglas MacArthur talked about duty, honor, and country, the general was talking exactly about Joe Kernan, our Joe Kernan. He would always say, "Call me Joe." This was a man who you wanted in the arena to face those challenging times. A man who would say yes to good causes.
Kernan is survived by his wife Maggie and 7 siblings who live in the state of Maine and the Washington, D.C. area. Again, Joe Kernan died early this morning. He was 74 years old.
Heavy rain potential tomorrow, but not for all of us. We'll define where the rain is most likely coming up.
Students with special needs are heading back to school. On Call 6 Investigates Kara Kenny, we're asking the State Department of Education what they're doing to make sure those students don't fall behind.
And I'm Dave First. Once again, the international Ides of Golf looking upon Crooked Stick in Carmel, and it's a dream come true for Carmel's own Luke Trawl. That story coming up in our Sports Extra Spotlight.
Well, let's get right to it. Let's talk about where that rain is most likely tomorrow and the heaviest rain most likely to fall. That's along and south of Interstate 70. Some spots could see 2 inches of rainfall. This will start in the morning, continue into the afternoon hours. I'll get more specific here. Some of the rainfall potential numbers. As you go south from Indianapolis, the rainfall potential picks up quickly. It'll be a sharp cutoff. I'll just mention some of the model runs recently have been trending toward bringing this more to the north, which would include us all in some beneficial rain. Of course, we don't need 2 inches plus in an hour's period of time. I don't think that'll be the case tomorrow. This will be spread out over a while, but the humidity is still there for some heavy rainfall at times. Our probability for rain highest tomorrow. It decreases but does not disappear. Friday through Monday will continue with the low chance for rain. There are the thunderstorms most numerous in central and western Illinois. From west of Effingham, south of Springfield, those continue to move to the northeast. We'll be dry until the morning hours. 88 in Lafayette, temperatures otherwise in the upper 80s, all of central Indiana. 87 is our high today. It's our current temperature. We're peaking right now. Skies are generally clear. Temperatures will be warmer tonight. 70 for the low. Look at what happens by Saturday. That is not the coolest temperature within the 7-day forecast. We've got at least one morning that will be in the 50s, several mornings where highs will stay in the 70s. 7 a.m., let's go through this. 7 a.m., showers and thunderstorms, Terre Haute to Sullivan. 10 a.m., I'll stop this, more widespread along Interstate 70 from Terre Haute to Greencastle, Cloverdale to southwest of Indy. That blob of rain moves to the north and east, and I think you just see a general expansion of thunderstorms along I-70 through early afternoon, then pushing off to the south and east. If that's the way it plays out, that's why we've got those higher rainfall totals in the southern half of the state. There are the temperatures, definite temperature impact in the mid-70s is about the best you'll do in Bloomington because the rain arrives early and it stays late into the afternoon. 7-day forecast, it's a surprising one for August. Temperatures well below average consistently for the next 7 days. Temperatures as cool as 59 next Wednesday. Again, thunderstorms tomorrow, and then that daily chance with these below average temperatures that take us right into the beginning of August and a little beyond. Amanda, Mark?
The start of a new school year can be a heart-wrenching time for parents, but it's more complicated when you have a child with special needs.
Our Rebound Indiana Safely Back to School initiative is focused on making sure kids get what they need as they either return to school or take part in virtual homeschooling or learning. Call 6 investigates. Kara Kenny with what you need to know.
Many parents are torn, and they're looking to school leaders and the State Department of Education for guidance on what to do.
I'm ready.
You're ready for what?
Marvin Selva's 6-year-old daughter, Ambreen, is ready to go back to school.
I thought we could say, let's go ahead and go, but it's very scary.
Like many parents, Marvin has struggled to decide whether to send Ambreen back to Perry Township's Abraham Elementary for in-person learning or choose virtual learning.
I want to prevent her from catching this virus, and it's scary to know that, we're going back to school. What's going to happen? Are they going to do the same thing as I am?
Marvin's decision is further complicated because Ambreen has Down syndrome and other health issues.
Can she keep the mask on for longer than 5 minutes? Is she gonna not touch everything? Is she not gonna grab things and put things in her mouth?
Call 6 investigates found more than 165,000 students in Indiana have a disability. The ARC of Indiana is just one of the groups that advocates for them.
Some of them are more susceptible to just illnesses. Some of them have sensory issues where they do enjoy a hug. They do enjoy touching not only their classmates, but their teachers.
Executive Director Kim Dodson says so far it's a mixed bag from parents.
It's 50-50. I think for every 2 parents we hear from that says, I am absolutely not sending my child back, we get 2 more parents that say, heck yes, I am.
The ARC wants parents to know schools do still have to follow your child's child's IEP or individualized education plan, even during virtual learning, even during a pandemic.
If your child is not capable of wearing a mask, then that needs to be in an IEP so that the school knows that and knows how to work around that.
We asked the Indiana Department of Education what they're doing to make sure students with special needs do not fall behind.
We have to remember that our students with special needs still need to be served. And so our cry, or our job, our drive from the very beginning is, and to this day, is how do we work with those districts to make sure they understand you still need to provide those services.
IDOE spokesperson Adam Baker says when a district fails to provide services, schools can be required to offer them after the fact.
That does help try to provide those services when those services could become available.
IDOE also created this document full of resources and guidance for special education.
Oh, you want to play with the ball then? Okay.
Ultimately, Marvin decided on virtual learning for his daughter. He knows it will make working from home more difficult, and Embreem will miss out on interacting with her peers.
Now I'm like, am I going to be able to teach her like a teacher? I'm not licensed. I'm not trained to be a teacher. Can I do the same job that the teacher is going to do at school for us?
Marvin is working with Perry Township to make sure the first grader is getting therapies she'd normally get in the classroom. The district told us, despite the challenges that have emerged during the pandemic, teachers continued to build relationships with parents. They have ongoing conversations to ensure students get individualized therapies and services, as well as meet academic and social goals. For Marvin and many parents with children who have special needs, their biggest concern is making sure their kids are included and not treated differently, even during a pandemic.
It's just scary, you know?
The Department of Education has a team of workers dedicated to mediating disputes between families and local school districts. You can find out how to reach out to IDOE in this story on the RTV6 app and our website, WRTV.com. Reporting at the State House, Kara Kenny, RTV6.
Perry Township also told us they encourage parent involvement. They say, quote, parents should always contact the school's principal or teacher to discuss general concerns or questions or to request a case conference meeting, end quote. To read the entire statement and to find the state's list of special education resources, you can go to this story on the IndyChannel.com/safely back to school, or you can find the story on the RTV6 app. The Colts have begun arriving for training camp. That alone has turned into a multi-day process. Most of everything will be different in the coming weeks. Head coach Frank Reich and GM Chris Ballard talked today about the biggest adjustments.
We're going to lay everything out front with all the new protocols, how we're going to address these things, and then we're going to go. We're going to get it behind us. The good thing is we feel like we have the players and the organization that has a maturity to not allow this to be a distraction, to understand it's real, to understand we have a responsibility, but not allow it to be a distraction.
We're in unknown territory. Each and every day is a new day. Every day is going to be, we're going to learn something new each and every day, and we're going to have to adjust on the fly, because if you don't, then you could have problems. So we've got to be pretty nimble on our feet and also nimble mentally to be able to see and adjust to anything that happens.
The team won't be on the field for a couple of weeks. Coach Reich says they hope to hold 2 preseason practices at Lucas Oil Stadium. The rest will be at the team complex. Some of the best amateur golfers in the world are in town as future stars of the PGA Tour compete in Carmel.
That includes a young man who just qualified for the event last week and someone who feels right at home. Sports Director Dave First with the Sports Extra Spotlight.
Pete and Alice Dye's Crooked Stick Golf Club has hosted its fair share of prestigious tournaments. This week, add the Western Amateur to it, the 3rd oldest amateur championship in the world. This is also where you'll find Carmel's Luke Prahl. How special to have an event like this right here at your backyard?
It's pretty cool. I've heard this is like the Masters of amateur golf, so it's pretty cool to have it at my home course and have the opportunity to play in it.
He's used to the driving range here, used to playing this course, and used to having Dad around, even when the original path was thought to be baseball.
I was a baseball player. I don't know if that had any influence on him as a kid or not.
Blame Dad.
Blame Dad, exactly.
I was getting bored of baseball. I don't know. It wasn't my sport, so I started to get into golf and started playing well, and that gave me the motivation to keep playing well. Kept getting better and better, and here I am.
He started getting serious just 5 years ago. Along the way, he won last year's state junior PGA championship, and this spring was going after a third straight team title for Carmel High when the pandemic shut down all sports.
From Carmel, Indiana, Luke Prahl.
He's set to continue his career at Purdue, taking every experience with him.
It is what it is, I guess.
It is what it is, yeah. Move on to the next thing, so hopefully we do that at Purdue, so that'd be nice.
I met Phil Mickelson's dad at the Ryder Cup in Valhalla. And I said, this was back in 2008, and I said, any advice for a young father just trying to introduce his kid to the game? And he said, keep it fun. So it's kind of been our motto.
A sign of the times for the Western Golf Association, asking everyone to stay 6 feet apart. But Luke's path has only just begun. In many ways, the sky's the limit. And that's when the real fun can begin.
Have you thought about a big goal in your career?
I'd like to go pro. That's the ultimate goal, but we'll see how I play in college.
One day at a time, or one tournament at a time?
One tournament at a time. One tournament at a time.
It is truly an international field here at Crooked Stick. 156 golfers entered, so you can imagine the storylines, but the idea is that Luke Prahl's will be one for many years to come. At Crooked Stick, Day 1st, RTV6 Sports.
It's warm now. It stays warm but dry tonight. Thunderstorms likely, especially from Indy south during the day tomorrow. Friday, rain chance diminishes. We're still at 81 degrees. Amanda?
Thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We'll see you at 7.